Hi Carolyn.
Hi Libby.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Would you like to tell me just a little bit about yourself and a little bit about what your symptoms were before you started using your Floww, personal Floww?
Sure. I'm a psychologist in private practice and I'm a counselling psychologist. So that means that I sort of specialise in psychotherapy. So I often see people over long periods of time to help sort out their problems.
Fabulous. Mm-hmm. And what were your symptoms before you started carrying your personal Floww?
Well, I had started seeing a specialist physician who also happens to be trained in functional medicine in the US, and I had seen her because I was having some gut symptoms and I had poor sleep and vertigo and just wasn't as mentally sharp as I normally am. A lot of sort of vague kind of symptoms, but I just wasn't doing so well. And when she questioned me very carefully over some time, she discovered that I lived in a water damaged building. And she was horrified to learn that I had an Energex substation over my back fence, and also that I had a Telstra mobile tower right next to my apartment block where I live. So she was really concerned about that. She gave me lots and lots of tests. I had an MRI of my brain, and she decided that I had a condition called chronic inflammatory response syndrome caused by toxic mould from a water damaged building. But she also thought there was something going on with me being bombarded, and that was the word she used, bombarded by EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies or fields, which were man-made. So she started me on the treatment for the toxic mould, but she also told me, I told her that about this Floww device that had just come up on the platform in Origin, and she said, well, buy one, get one, you need to get that. She actually told me to move house, but I couldn't do that, so she told me to get this Floww device. And I started my mould treatment, and then a few days later I got my Floww, and I really wasn't expecting anything, really. I didn't know what to expect. And about 2.5, 3 weeks later, she emailed me and she said, well, how are you going with everything? How's the treatment going? And I said, well, it's funny, I'm okay. But I said, the first night I used the Floww and had it for 24 hours and had the Floww under my pillow, which you do after the first 2 weeks, I said, I slept really soundly. And I normally don't sleep that soundly because for years I've been waking up 2 or 3 times a night. I could get back to sleep all right, but I kept on waking up. And she said, and I said, and I also, and this is in an email, I noticed that my vertigo had gone, my brain was clear, I was really mentally alert. And she said, that's not the mould treatment, that's actually that thing that you got. She said, that Floww device. And she said, I'm going to buy one, so she did. But I didn't connect the dots, so it could not have been a placebo because I didn't know that actually is what happens with
from
this,
EMF.
from actually change. I'd changed. I was no longer exposed to EMF in the way I was before because I was wearing this Floww device, and I didn't realise that that's the kind of change that you could see, and so quickly.
And that you might experience.
Yeah, I was completely blown away.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's terrific. And the MRI for your brain, what did that show? Anything?
I just had
not at this stage?
Well, typically with chronic inflammatory response syndrome, otherwise called CIRS, you typically see some enlargement of the frontal lobes. I didn't really have, mine weren't diagnostic. There were some minor changes here and there, but nothing in particular, and certainly no evidence of atrophy. So I haven't got any Alzheimer's or nothing like that. So that was good to know. But there were a few minor little changes, and we don't know, is that normal ageing or what? But anyway, we've got that MRI, and my doctor has told me that I've had such an impressive result from this flow device, because actually I should say that she actually stopped the treatment for the mould.
Okay.
She stopped it after a month because she said, no, just keep on with the flow and see what happens. And I've been fine. In fact, I improve every day. But she's going to repeat that MRI of my brain 6 months after the first one to see if we can notice any changes.
Okay, and you've done a little bit of research into EMF and the effects it can have on the body now that you've experienced some change.
Yeah.
What have you found with that research?
Certainly a lot of people report the insomnia, the difficulties with sleeping and the vertigo. A lot of people report low thyroid. I've got a thyroid condition. They report there's some connection with autoimmune diseases. I've got 3 of them. I seem to have the whole range. And but certainly the most impressive thing that I learnt was the impact that man-made EMFs have on melatonin. Melatonin's a hormone that the pineal gland in the brain makes. Melatonin's important for helping us to go to sleep. But it's also an antioxidant, and it's also involved in a whole lot of chemical processes in our brain that improve mood and improve brain functioning. So that seems to be interfered with when we're exposed to high levels of man-made EMFs. And it seems that I would think that that's why my sleep has improved so much, is because my brain's now making adequate amounts of melatonin, whereas previously it wasn't.
Terrific. That's fabulous. Do you think we could talk again maybe in 3-6 months' time?
Absolutely.
And just see how you're progressing and what's changing?
Very
for
happy
you?
to give you an update. Thank you.
That would be fabulous. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you.